right, Screamfest LA continues with Summer Teeth, which actually on the poster for this movie, or even on IMDb, it is listed as Salsa, which I'm assuming is the translation for this title. But, you know, in English, that's like a Mexican dip that we make out of tomatoes, which is, you know, it's a primarily tomato base. And this movie's all about tomatoes. This is a movie where tomatoes turn people into zombies. So this is a Croatian film, and this is about a guy who's like down on his luck. He's a bit of a nincompoop of sorts, and he something happens at his job, and his friend offers him his summer job on this island picking tomatoes for his grandmother. So he kind of reluctantly agrees to the job, goes out to this island. He's kind of like, as I said, he's like a hapless, kind of lovable idiot. He gets out there, you know, he starts to have this romantic thing with this dentist girl, and he's working on the farm, and he's picking the tomatoes, and then of course they end up turning people into zombies. This is actually like a really fun film as far as like the humor went and the characters. Like I did find our main character here pretty endearing, despite his faults, but that's kind of what added to the charm of him. And I did like the character interactions. I liked the small town feel of the island, like the community and the banter back and forth, and all of that stuff really worked for me. And I found the film to be very charming. The zombie stuff is pretty lame, unfortunately. There was one cool aspect of the zombie stuff that had to do with the dentist. Since, you know, as I said, she's a dentist, there's something that they find out about them in her office, which I actually thought was a cool way of showing this unique aspect of these zombies. But other than that, yeah, the zombies are just very generic, very basic. There's no gore. The kills are all either off screen or very lame. The zombie stuff just doesn't really work very well in this film. So yeah, unfortunately, you know, this being a zombie film and all, to not really deliver on the zombie side of things was a bit of a disappointment. But I don't think the film was ever really trying to be like horror in that way. This is very much like a lighthearted comedy, with our kind of dopey, silly lead character. And so, you know, and I think the movie also has some messaging in it that's probably going to hit a little better with, you know, people from the area. I do think that there's a bit of a cultural disconnect. So it's not something that I couldn't figure out for myself. Like in the end, there's kind of like a very quick mid-credit sequence that explains something. But other than that, yeah, I'm fine with this movie. You know, it reminded me a decent amount of Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, like for a minute. Not in the zombie area, obviously, because that's like my favorite zombie film, and that is the movie that delivers on the zombie gore and the zombie apocalypse and all that stuff in the best way possible. This does not at all. But, you know, just kind of like the goofy guy and the romance with the girl, and, you know, he's just not getting the signs and that kind of stuff. It just felt, because it's a zombie movie as well, I was just getting flavors of that movie. So ultimately, like, I think it's a fun watch. But if you're going into it for the zombie stuff, then you're going to be greatly disappointed. If you go into it and you find the main character cute and charming and funny, then you'll probably have a good time with it. But that's really the main thing to take away from it is our characters. It's just a fun character film, and the zombie stuff is more just background for them to kind of react to and to have the little hijinks and the fun little moments. But I don't know. It really doesn't amount to anything in the end. It just has a very anticlimactic conclusion to it. Like once we get to that third act when things are supposed to be ramping up, they're just so ho-hum. It's just like these people go here and then he breaks away and he goes here for a little bit and then he comes back and then it's just kind of over and you're like, oh, that's it? Okay. That's not a very satisfying conclusion to this. It seems like it was building to something, bigger, some more eventful, impactful thing, and it just doesn't at all. So as I said, I think the movie is just supposed to be fun, and that is it. And you're supposed to like the characters and the way that they interact with one another, and that is all you are there for. If you're going into this for any bit of horror, forget it. It doesn't exist, and that's fine. So that's that. I'm in the middle on it. I really like our characters, so that's what got me through it and gave me it's like a 3 out of 5 for me. It's a good time. I'd never watch it again, but if you are somebody who's like, oh, I don't want to see a bunch of gore and I don't want to see I don't even really care about the zombie aspect. I just want to watch a fun film with cool characters that I like. Then yeah, this one's fun. So that's that. All right. I'll see you in the comments. Adios.